I don't want to talk about this topic, but I want to lean on your brain and experience and forward-looking thinking. What happens to the private equity industry? What do you think if you think like 10, 15 years from now? Let's take a very long time span. How will your firm look differently? Will we still have analysts? Will, a legal firm have junior people, or is this being done by others and only the most senior deal makers, visionary people like you will survive in the private equity industry? How do you see the impact on firms like yours, on the KKRs, Blackstones, and all these large asset managers?
Yeah, as we all become more familiar with not only these tools, but the utility of these tools, we will rely on them more. We a bunch of tests now to say, okay, what can we learn by ingesting this data into our system and analyzing it relative to we know have been successful outcomes in the past over the last 25 years, 24, 25 years. So there will be that migration, no question about it. You will probably need fewer people, no question about that. If you want to operate at the same level, in some cases, you may say, guess what? I now can expand my operational capabilities. And rather than in our case, we have about a 4.5% sell activity of the deals that we see in the deals that we do. Can you raise that to 6.5, 7.5 because you can process more? That's one of the questions that we have to identify and understand. And I think everyone in our industry is going to go through that. Some earlier than others. Some are going to say, "I'm just keep doing what I'm doing and leave and not invest in the future." We take a different approach, of course, being in software and technology, and say it is important to not only understand but invest in the future and invest in our capabilities and understanding and building our what we call our value practices. We have a whole Gen AI team now, and across our organization, well, everyone is now, Gen AI enabled in one shape, form, or another. But how do we use this and utilize it across every one of the portfolio companies and across Vista in particular, so that we can drive productivity, enhance understanding, and in many cases deliver back to our customer base, in some cases investors, in some cases portfolio companies, an enhanced level of understanding or service or best practices that can be delivered. So our industry will absolutely transform. I think different firms are going to take different approaches. Some are going to say, "Listen, I'm going to grow and utilize this technology just like I did when we went to mobile first and went to cloud." And some are going to be laggards in that construct. And I think their portfolio companies ultimately will suffer as a result of it.
Robert, let's change gears a bit. Vista is an incredible success story. The firm has grown tremendously over the past years, and a very important part of your success is your culture to develop talent from scratch. You recently said that 85% of all your VPs started as an analyst or associate. I'm personally fascinated and thinking a lot about culture at Moonfair, and I want to learn from others. Share with us, please, how do you maintain this unique culture, the learning ethos that is needed at the firm, the adaptation of new tools like generative AI? How do you motivate all these people from a with a different mindset and set of values as a next generation? How do you motivate them over and above just cash and carry?
Sure, sure. I mean, there's layers of this. One of the first thing I like to say, we do a whole talent evaluation, and we actually start with people as interns, and 1 and 2 and 3 year interns then come on as analysts, associates, etc. And we think that's important because they get to know us, we get to know them, we get to know their capabilities. We also have assessments, very standardized assessments that we use for aptitude and personality profile. And then we have, of course, review processes. In your junior years, it's a couple times a year; senior, one time a year, to evaluate strengths, weaknesses, things we're going to enhance and we're going to develop, and then driving what I'll call a culture of performance in across the organization, which, as requires really enhancing how folks are doing well, and when people aren't doing so well, you have to make some trims and move them on to other things and that won't be in Vista any longer. So there's all those components of it, but I think all of it, and you know this, comes from just being very dedicated and focused. So I always like to say my job is really to create an environment where people can become their best selves. So you have to create environments where you can hear their voice, we can understand their capabilities, and frankly, you have to assess their capabilities. And then from that assessment, make judgments around, are they the right people for the business going forward?